Hi, welcome to City Connections. I'm Steve Kime with the City of Enid, and this is kind of our holiday safety show, if you will. Here we are in the month of December, and the holidays are upon us. We've got a new year, 2015. Can you believe it? 2015 is around the corner. Well, to talk about holiday safety, I have a very special guest. The Sheriff of Garfield County is Jerry Niles. Jerry, thank you. Thank you for being here. I know you're a busy person, and just a few moments ago, as we were talking off camera, your day's been really busy.
Already this morning, yeah, we're out and about.
A lot going on.
Well, start early and stay late.
Well, we'll talk just for a few minutes and get you back out on the streets or back out in the county, if you will. In preparing our visit, Sheriff, it just seemed like this is a lot of common sense stuff, the things that we're going to discuss. And one of the first things I want to talk about, online shopping really increases. Right. People are buying things online. They don't want to get in line at stores, and all this gets delivered. It gets delivered to your front door, and hopefully you expect it on Monday to go pick it up and take it inside the house. But what can you share with, I know there's got to be increasing theft of packages in this time of year in neighborhoods or maybe even businesses where these packages are delivered. And then somebody picks them up instead of the owner, if you will. But what kind of safety tips would you have in that regard?
Well, there's a couple of things they can do. If they're shipping, if they know they're shipping through FedEx or UPS or one of the other common carriers, and they can track them online, they can also make a request that they allow them to pick them up at the carrier's place of business rather than being delivered to the home. They can make that request, so they can, it's a little more inconvenient where they have to go in and pick it up at the carrier's location, but it saves them in the long run, especially on some high-ticket items. The other thing is work with a neighbor, see if a neighbor will come by. If they're home during the day, if they'll check, make sure your packages are delivered, then pick them up and take them home. And so you can pick them up from your neighbor's house when you get off in the evening.
Well, that's a great common sense reminder about contacting your neighbor. And I'm fortunate, my wife and I, we live in a neighborhood where just the other evening, our neighbor across the street, he came up and said, "Hey, Steve, I'm going to be out of town for the next couple of days, and I have a package coming tomorrow. Would you pick it up, put it in your garage, but it's coming tomorrow?" We have that kind of relationship in our neighborhood, but not necessarily everybody has that type of relationship. So I guess it almost prompts you to get to know your neighbors,
yes,
right?
Yes, it is. Sometimes we have the neighborhoods, and we need to get really more involved in our communities, and especially in our surrounding blocks. And just like on some of the old comedy shows about the nosy neighbor, those nosy neighbors sometimes are going to be your best friends, your best offense against any thievery, anything like that. And so, if you don't have a neighbor, like if you said talking about leaving town for a couple of days, if you have a neighbor that could come check on your packages or check on your property, have a relative come by if there's a relative who lives in town. And also, you can also notify your local law enforcement if you're going to be gone for an extended period of time, 3 or 4 days or a couple of weeks. So they can put your residents on the house to watch list. Sure. Both the Enid Police Department does it, Garfield County Sheriff's Office does that, and we try and get by a couple of times, especially in the evening, spotlight the area, and just we're more cognitive aware of what's going on at that particular address.
I've read that there is another trend that's going on in regard to packages, is that having them delivered at the office. Now, of course, get permission, before you do so, because you don't want your office to be headquarters for all these Christmas gifts coming in. But there has been this trend of, if you don't have a neighbor to help you out, and you talk to your boss and you have that opportunity.
And we do that at our office. So
okay.
I have a lot of staff members that have valuables delivered to the office.
Jerry, let's talk a little bit about I guess, car safety, parking safety, and package safety. The other morning, I got out of my car and locked it to go inside to get some coffee before I was on my way to the gym, and the car pulled up next to me. There was a package in the front seat. They got out of the car. Car was still running. The keys were still in the ignition, and they went in the store as well to get coffee. And I thought, well, I didn't do that, so am I overprotective, or is this person too lax? What are some safety or really some great tips that people can use in regards to their car safety and packages?
Brings up a lot.
It seemed like they were advertising.
They were.
I've got a package in the front seat of my car.
I got a package in the front seat, and I've got a partial tank of gas, and I got 4 wheels that can go somewhere. And that's where we need to really think about our surroundings. Lock your vehicles when you're shopping. As you're shopping, you're making multiple trips. Store all your packages in the trunk of your car if you're in a car. Obviously, if you're in a pickup, you can't do that, but at least have a blanket or something so you can cover it up so it doesn't make it so much more tempting to be seen. Make sure you're in a lit area. And if you're unable to park in a lit area, try and walk back and forth in pairs.
Is there any safety tips that you can recommend for man or woman that maybe has packages under both arms and they're going to their car and they're going to put those packages in the trunk, but then they go back into the store or they go back into the mall? I guess you need to be concerned or be looking around, and I hate to say that for people to be paranoid, but I think you need to be comfortable with your surroundings, where you're parking, maybe get as close to the building as possible, but you have to just be awake.
Everyone has their responsibility is for their individual safety. That's the great thing about democracy, the freedoms we live in. But along with those freedoms, there comes some common sense responsibilities. And if you're loading up your trunk and you think that maybe you've been watched, who's to say you can't drive around, and you're at the mall, you're going to another store, why don't drive to that side of the store and park again? Yeah, it may be a little inconvenient, but you're also moving your way out of something. If you perceive you're in danger, you're moving yourself out of the danger. Relock your vehicle. So those are things you need to do, and also be cognitive, more than anything, cognitive of your surroundings.
Our special guest today is Garfield County Sheriff Jerry Niles, and we're talking about holiday safety tips for the coming month, if you will. Jerry, is there any kind of repeat or a very popular incident that you address every year when it comes to the holidays in regards to maybe theft or just misplacing car keys or something? Is there something that goes on in your department and you say, yep, we're getting close to the holidays?
Well, holiday time, we always have more thefts because the bad guys are out Christmas shopping, and they're Christmas shopping on your packages that you've already wrapped up or in the process of wrapping up. So be aware of that. Don't advertise. We talked about this a little bit before the show started. Don't advertise in social media, displaying your jewelry or your big screen TV or something like that in social media, and make sure you record all your valuables, the serial numbers. Our the biggest help we have, and we solve probably 80% of our larcenies, where serial numbers are recorded. And if we get the report in a timely manner, meaning almost instantaneously, not wait until the next day to report a theft or anything like that, there is a very good chance that we're going to recover your property with our investigators and working stuff and getting the word out. Serial numbers are very important. If it's you're buying something custom made like jewelry or things of that nature, a lot of times the jewelry will have them engraved with a serial number. A lot of your high-end diamonds already have a serial number that is micro-engraved on the diamond itself. It's permanently there. It follows the history. And a lot of our local jewelry stores have those type diamonds and do put those numbers on your invoice or on your sales bill.
It's obvious that, times have changed. We live in a different age, and I don't want to be one of promoting doom and gloom, but the days when I was a kid, things have really changed. I remember when you could have your Christmas tree, it was kind of fun to put it in the front window, because as you could drive by, you could see the pretty lights on the Christmas tree, and maybe you had a few gifts. Today, if you place your tree in the front window with gifts, it's almost this advertising as we were talking about. Is there anything in regards to gifts around the tree? Should that be a Christmas morning assortment of all the gifts?
It depends on your neighborhood. You know, you're not spouting doom and gloom. A lot of it's common sense, but we also need to be secure in our own homes. If you know, I always thought a Christmas tree in front of a window was great looking, and I still do. And I'm not.
Oh, yeah, it's
I'm
great.
not going to promote. I'm not going to advocate that we take all that
Sure.
and we batten down the hatches, because we don't need to batten down the hatches. But at the same time, we don't need to advertise that ourselves as a victim. So yeah, maybe some low-end gifts, or maybe low-end gifts are under the tree, then save the rest, somewhere else would be a good idea.
I hate that we've come to that, but again, it's just part of life, and things change, and we can change with it, and we can.
But we're not Northwest Oklahoma. We're not a high crime area. For the most part, most people have respect for other people's property. When we're dealing with the criminal element, it's one of the questions I ask. Why'd you do it? Well, no one said I couldn't do it. I said, if it's not yours, leave it alone. And so sometimes we need to instill some value, and that's getting a little bit off topic a little bit, but property is our property. Whoever owns the property owns the property. So we have a responsibility to take care of our own property also.
Sheriff Niles, my last question for you as we conclude our program today deals with the fact that I've got the 60-inch or 80-inch or 90-inch, whatever, TV, and I've got this humongous box. It's the day after Christmas, and I said, well, I'll just throw it out here on the curb along with the stereo boxes and all the other boxes and computer boxes out on the curb. And I remember going through my neighborhood, you could almost see what everybody got for Christmas based on what those boxes.
What's a trash can look like?
What do we do in that regard? And again, you don't want to advertise the gifts that you have, but maybe the common sense approach is to tear down the boxes or something.
Cut the boxes up. I would take them somewhere else.
Okay.
I'm not advocating going to a local business's dumpster and dumping in that, because it's a violation of the city ordinance. Yeah. But if you have the opportunity, go take it out to the landfill. Just box it up and take it out to the landfill as quickly as you can. You don't want to leave it around the house either. The other thing is, make sure you cut up some of those serial numbers and some of those other numbers that are located on there, because that can get information to the criminal element. On some of our smart TVs and things like that, using the serial number, they can. I've heard incidences in other parts of the country where they've used that to intercept data off of some of the smart TVs. I don't know how it works exactly, but it's something to think about. Just make sure you destroy or get rid of all the serial numbers that you're delivering. The same as your Social Security number. You try and shred some of that stuff. Make sure you shred some of the serial numbers and identifiers on some of your items.
Very good. Sheriff Niles, thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
And have the best holiday here.
Merry Christmas to you too.
Thank you. And thank you for joining with us. I don't want to, again, come across like, oh, we've got to put padlocks on everything that we have or gift, but I just sense the need for just kind of remind us about some common sense. And again, if that guy hadn't showed up in his car with the package in the front seat and kept his car running with the keys in the ignition, we probably wouldn't be here today. But that just reminded me that sometimes we need to execute a little bit more common sense when it comes to the holiday season. Thank you for joining us on City Connections. Have a great holiday, and I hope these holiday safety tips have been beneficial to you and that you can share with your family. Until next time, make it a great day.